ends up in our stomach, because the doctors will tell you that once you've had cholera before or typhoid fever before, it means that some way, somehow, you have ingested human feces. Because you see, E. coli is a bacteria which is found in feces of mammals, especially human beings. So once you've ingested, your E. coli is found in your system, then it means that some way, somehow, you've ingested, feces.
Then that is to say human feces.
Yes, human feces.
Tell us a bit about the research work and the level of exposure.
Okay, so this research work has been ongoing since 2010. So in 2010 we carried out a research. It was a formative research because nothing of the sort had been done. What we wanted to find out was to come up with a tool that could quickly and easily help us to identify pathways that exposes human beings to the ingestion of fecal matter. So we had mainly 3 questions. One was, what was the exposure pathways that leads to fecal contamination? And that in the way leads to public health risk. And then the other way also to find out what is the result of public health implications of poor fecal sludge management in our communities. And the third one was to help policymakers to prioritize sanitation investments in such a way that they can make the highest impact in reducing public health risk. Okay, so this was the 3 main questions that guided the research.
Yeah, please.
Yes, so we conducted interviews. In fact, the research uses a mixed approach, a mixed method approach. We conduct behavioral surveys of households, of community people, of children, to find out their exposure to the pathways. And I must say that we considered several pathways, and through the research, we were able to prune down these pathways to about 10 main pathways that exposes people to fecal, contamination. And the 10 main pathways, we talk about drinking water, we talk about produce. So produce, we mean the vegetables that we eat. Mostly we don't cook them before eating. So we're talking about lettuce, we're talking about cabbage, tomatoes, we're talking about green pepper, and so on and so forth. Then we also have bath water, we have public latrines, we have flood water, we have soil, because our kids play in the environment, the soil and all that. Then we have open drains, then we have wells or surface water, then we have ocean. So in places like Accra, where children play at the shore, or we go to the shore to enjoy ourselves, make merry. In this festive season, a lot of people will be going there. And so these are the pathways that were, identified to expose people to fecal contamination.
And like you said, you began this work since 2010 thereabout. Yes. Do you have any figures, any statistics for, let's say, this year, 2019? Yes,
in 2019, in fact, we collected data as early as last year in Kumasi. And the idea was, having come up with these two, we want to help municipalities, policymakers, at the municipalities, to be able to get evidence, data, hardcore data, which is difficult to find in these municipalities, to be able to help them identify the pathways that exposes people to fecal contamination and so the public health risks, so that they can prioritize their sanitation investments in these areas. Okay, so the data we collected in Kumasi, we looked at 4 neighborhoods in Kumasi, and we carefully selected these neighborhoods in such a way that they cut across the income areas, or look at low income, medium income, high income areas, so that safely you can generalize these findings throughout the neighborhoods in Kumasi. Because for each of the neighborhoods that you find in Kumasi, you can categorize them under any of these 3 categories that we and the findings were shocking, David.
First of all, tell us about the neighborhoods that you chose to work on, and then tell us about the findings.
Okay, so the 4 neighborhoods we chose: Moshizongo, we chose Fanti Newtown, we chose Ahojo, and then we chose Dakojom.
Okay.
So these were the 4 neighborhoods that we worked in. And as I mentioned, I haven't developed the tool. We wanted to expose the policymakers and the implementers. So we, in fact, trained environmental health officers. So this is a joint work in collaboration with KMA. So we trained about 20 environmental health officers, exposed them to the tool, and helped them to deploy the tool in these neighborhoods. And the results were shocking.
You tell us about the results that were shocking, because indeed one of the things that surprised me and has gotten me worried is the fact that 8 out of every 10 household has E. coli, in their drinking water.
Yes.
And that is really disturbing.
Yes. But
Erastus Asare-Donkor is with us. He has been leading the campaign team in terms of our sanitation drive right here at Love 99.5 and Ishra 104.5. Erastus, can you relate to what he's saying?
Perfectly. And his research sums it all up on what is really happening on the ground. I think the research also looked at areas like Fanti Newtown.
Yeah.
Recently, I think about a month ago, we went with the mayor of Kumasi to Fanti Newtown. We started the campaign for landlords to fix toilets in their homes from that area for one reason. This is an area where many public toilets are located, and many of the houses there do not have toilets. Some of them have converted their bathrooms and toilets into
rented rooms
for rent. And so from all the indications on the ground when we went there, you could see that open defecation is rife. There are public toilets that link their effluent into drains. It's very common in Fanti Newtown. And so when you enter the community itself, you could feel the presence of raw fecal matter within the community. Then I think it's becoming commonplace now that people are use every little opportunity they get to direct their effluent into any drain they can find. And then when people see signs that it's going to rain, then it's an opportunity for them to open the taps. So in Kumasi, when it's raining and you pass through certain areas, you could smell the effluent from people's homes. It's a very common practice. We've seen it everywhere.
When you engage with the people, do they appreciate the harm they're doing to us humans and to the environment?
They don't really care. Many of them are stone cold. They don't care. They do not care. And I also attribute this to lack of strong institutions to fight this. In fact, when you talk about now that Kumasi has been divided into municipalities and other things,
sub-metros,
we have set up a task force, but unfortunately the other municipalities have not. And many of the environmental officers use this as an opportunity to cash in, make money. I'll be very blunt. And we've seen many instances where you've asked the environmental officers to go in there and check, and they come back to tell you that, we've asked them to fix the problem, and we believe that they fixed the problem. You go back and check, and you see that the problem is still there. You go to Ashtown, close to Sumankwa Hene's palace, there's a public toilet there. People have sent me videos of the owner leaking his effluent into the drain, and they cannot stand the stench. This is not when it's raining, it's broad daylight. And when we went there, we saw the stopgap close to his septic tank. And I asked, why the stopgap? Because then if you have a septic tank, it gets full, you bring an emptier to dislodge it. So why do you have a stopgap there? They said they leak it into another chamber, which we found was wrong. Then it goes into the drain there. You go to the prisons, they were doing the same thing. And that effluent will run through Adum, the principal streets, and lodge up at the railway area where they cook food and other items. We've gone to Aidiase, where I think that is one practice that I felt, I don't know, these are educated people.
Enlightened people.
Yeah, enlightened people.
We
should know better.
Yeah.
And you have many hostels laying pipes. When you go to the community and you see the number of PVC pipes in the open, you might think that they are, have a factory there that is transporting palm oil or something. But this is raw fecal matter.
And they are endangering the environment. And
yes.
we are the receiving end. And Erasmus, I know you've been round and you've engaged with people, with the sanitation inspection team and all that. When you come across some of these things, and some of them are recalcitrant, they don't even care what it is that they're doing to the environment, what does the bylaw say? Are they sanctioned well enough to be punitive, to be deterrent enough?
No, unfortunately, I feel I think we should be more robust than we are doing now. But unfortunately, we are not. I must be very frank. In some areas, we have applied the law to the letter. In some areas, we have not.
Is it because of selective whatever?
I don't know.
Approach to
but
fighting it?
Somehow the people have lost the juice. And as passionate as I am to get the things done, sometimes you feel very bad that it's not being worked out the way it should.
But again, there are modern ways of building a septic tank where you don't necessarily have to have all these liquids and fluids flowing into drains.
Yeah.
Why are people not considering that? Especially the ones that are elected.
And that brings me to another observation I made. There are quack environmental scientists, I should put them, going around and promising people that they can do biosystems for them to treat their effluent. And so they construct these things. One that we found at Ampeyu, Sokoban, where the public toilet, they've done another chamber, they filled it with charcoal. Charcoal and other items, clay, and and then they are passing the effluent through that chamber, and they are leaking the pipe straight into an open space. And so it's flowing directly. The guy was telling me that he believes that the effluent coming from his septic tank has been treated, and so what is coming out is just pure water. It's nothing dangerous. And so whilst we were there, he used his hands, bare hands, to scoop the liquid, and just to confirm to us that it's not dangerous. But I'm telling you, the liquid he's scooping with his hand is smelling like nobody's business. So you see, and we see it a lot. There are many people, you go and they'll tell you, even there was a bank at Adum, 2 banks. I don't want to mention their name because they've solved the problem. We impressed upon them to solve it, they solved it, and the rate at which they did it, we like it. And they had done the same thing, and they were telling us that the person who worked on this thing told us that they've done the treatment, and so what is coming out is just pure water. You see, but then this was.
You should have asked him to drink it or take a sip if it's clean and it's pure water.
And this is somebody who is very educated and should know better.
So when you do all these rounds, knowing the dangers and the exposures of these fecal matter, the contamination, when you go home and you have to drink water or eat, when you come to work or you step out and you have to eat, how do you feel?
You see, in Chi they will say, "Ahia, now become ahia, I'm extra careful." Extra care, and I keep washing my hands so much because the kind of things you see out there, and even where they grow vegetables. You remember I told you about that fish pond that is being operated
on the Georgia
close
Hotel
to Georgia.
Yeah, the Georgia Hotel stretch.
This is close to the Subin drain, and with time we've had people's effluent and other things lodging up at that particular place. True. And this is where the guy has dug 2 ponds. And it's raising
rearing fish, and of course
fish.
And we have environmentalists in this country and this region, and nothing much is being done about it. Now, Doc, before you tell us about your findings, which of course you say is worrying, I would like to know from you, which exposure pathway poses the biggest threat.
Okay, so then David, that leads us to the findings.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, we in Kumasi we looked at 9 because we have 10, but it includes ocean, and Kumasi of course we don't have the seas, so we looked at 9, and 4 came out as the dominant pathways. But I might say that for all the pathways that we considered, there was a presence of E. coli. But what the tool does is that it looks at the dominant pathways, because remember our last research question is looking at how to help policymakers prioritize their investment with regards to providing sanitation infrastructure so that they can reduce the highest, public health risk, or make impact on reducing highest public health risk. 4 pathways were dominant. The first one is the produce. The produce, and as Erastus mentioned, the way they produce them. Okay, so the lettuce, the cabbage, the tomato, green pepper,
the carrots.
No, the carrots are a bit safer because they are roots.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if they are roots, they are in the soil.
But they still get something in there. They're in the soil, aren't they?
Yes, but those ones are not as dangerous as because with the lettuce, because they spray the water on them. You see, they have flowers, like you see.
They have leaves.
Exactly. So they spray the water on them. So if they take the raw feces and they spray it on them, and then you eat it, then you are in trouble.
Okay.
And that is what is causing. And it was interesting because if you look at the communities we selected them from low income to high income.
Yeah.
But you see, this was high from low income to high income. So even if you are in a high income area and you think that, oh, my sanitation infrastructure is okay, so I might not be exposed to any of these bad, pathways, you are lying, because we all go to the same market. And so the produce was dominant. I mean, the lettuce, cabbage, pepper, and so if you buy them and you don't wash them well before you eat, the doctors will even or the food scientists will even tell you that even if you are washing with vinegar or vinegar solution or salt, you need to use the right solution. Okay, otherwise, still you have some presence of E. coli. Then the second one was street food. So we buy wache, we buy kenke, and fried yam, and so on and so forth. So the problem is the street foods are also contaminated. So we are not safe. Now, you wake up in the morning, you have to quickly get out, so you don't have time to eat breakfast in the house. You come out, you want to get something quick to eat. You are eating, feces. Excuse my French.
Eating feces. I mean,
yes.
Say it as it is. Because sometimes when we polish and quote the words, it doesn't sink in well enough. We're eating raw feces. That's what it is. We're eating.
Yes. And the third one was open drains. And it comes back to, Erasmus' observation that now most of the public toilets, you find that they channel their effluents into the open drains. And so in one of the tool is such that you can compare various pathways in one neighborhood, and also compare the various pathways across neighborhoods. Okay. So in one of the communities that we visited, in fact, in surface water, okay, that passes through the community, and this is water that is used by all the people in the community. In fact, they prepare some meals there which is eaten by almost everybody in Kumasi. If I mention it, you'll be shocked. And they prepare it by this water, and they fetch water from this place.
Please mention it. Please, you doc. Please mention it.
This is public interest.
Please mention it, doc. I beg of you. Please mention it.
But
you see, this happened in Dakojom, David. And when we tested the water
at Dakojom,
it was as if we were testing raw feces.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was as if we were testing raw feces. So we quickly asked the environmental health officers to go in there and investigate what was happening. And when they went in there and found out what was happening, lo and behold, some public toilet there had channeled their effluents into the surface water, and it has polluted.
And I have received a request for us to come there just last week, because what you're talking about is still happening.
Okay. And there are residents there.
Yeah.
And in your findings, you said 8 out of every 10 household has E. coli in their drinking water.
Exactly.
So although these people are preparing the meals there, the kinky and all, for people who live in Dakojom area, their water that they are drinking is also polluted.
Yes.
It's contaminated. It could also be raw feces.
That's what it is. That's
David,
what it is. So
you see, I'm not surprised Doc has these findings, and he's talking about street food.
Yeah.
Almost every street food you find in Kumasi is sold by the gutter.
Yeah, true. Open drain.
And our gutters are receptacles for our feces. These days, when you go to Abinchi, that drain which joins Asafo, have you been there?
No,
you can take a trip today.
I'll
just
go there.
Stand close to the gutter. You cannot stand there for 10 minutes.
The stench.
Yeah, the stench. And everybody is giving him or herself an opportunity to, direct
their
effluent into a drain. When you go to along the drain, and I've always spoken about this Susan drain, the Abu Storm drain, and all the shacks that are located along it. There are about 3 public toilets there. Directly into that storm drain.
So let me throw in this question before I even do. Love in the Morning is brought to you by Ideal, Ghana's favorite milk. Ideal milk is now 3 Ghana cedis per. Yatiti brutal. Enjoy your Ideal milk. So, Doc, let me throw this question, and I will ask of Erastus the same question to give me a response. Okay. So, if the situation is this bad, where only 55% of our fecal sludge is managed well and 45% is poorly managed, how come KMA won the overall best performing municipal authority in liquid waste management? Okay. At the Sanitation Challenge Awards, how come they won it?
Okay, so we partnered the KMA in the challenge that you are mentioning, and I must say that KMA won the highest award, and Sanipat project won the innovative digital tool, award. And then also there were other partners. We had the Clean Team from WhatsApp and so on and so forth. You see, because this challenge is not only in KMA. In fact, it's across Ghana. But as I mentioned, if you look at it, you realize that KMA is doing well, relatively. Okay? Because, 45% going to the environment is not good. Okay? Because 0%, if you compare that to the Sustainable Development Goals, which is looking at having
SDG 6, for example.
Yes, 6, which is looking at universal access to safe water and sanitation infrastructure by 2030, then we are nowhere near there. Okay, but KMA is taking steps to address the situation. So they have various projects, for instance, that they are implementing to address the situation. And this is what led to KMA winning the award. It's not only Sanipat. They also have a project in Sanifish, for instance, where they are looking at how to treat fecal sludge and then use the water that comes out of there to rear fish, for instance. So, the sanitation is a chain. Okay, so they look at the containment, the emptying, transportation, treatment, and then the final disposal or reuse. Okay, so they look at how KMA is performing along the chain and what innovations they are introducing. So if you look at the money that they have won, for instance, we are expected to use this money to address some of the challenges that we find in terms of poor sanitation.
Well, in case you just joined us, we're having a conversation on a project work done by Sanipath, and the project findings shows that 8 out of every 10 household has E. coli in their drinking water. Now, E. coli is a bacterium, and sometimes, it's not harmful, but the ones that they found in the drinking water and the foods that we ingest are dangerous. They are causing kidney problems. They are causing us to have typhoid fever. Many are having bloody, stools or diarrhea, cholera, and I can go on and on and on. Now, Erasmus, if KMA won this award and has been given some money, I'm wondering how come they won it, because like Doctor is saying, if the whole country is that bad, and KMA seemingly is doing something about it, shouldn't there have been a benchmark to say, well, nobody qualified for this award?
Well, there could have been, but I think they are also looking at certain benchmarks. And so, per that, and like Doc said, relatively, as compared to other areas.
But 45% is
I think
big.
They are also looking at what measures have you put in place to help solve the problem. I think one of them is the sanitation drive, the enforcement drive that we have taken up. And I can tell you, we've done a lot. We've done a lot in the area of preventing people from the sludging into drains and all that. We've arrested people, we've prosecuted people. I just say we prosecuted 3 hostels.
Yeah.
We are still on it. We'll be going to the other hostels because we've received similar concerns from there. So I think when you look at it from that angle, they have a plan and they are going with it.
So let's listen to Joshua Ninoy Tetenote. He is Senior Development Planning Officer at the KMA. He explains what they are doing to improve upon the situation of the system. Take a listen to what he had to say.
With the results that came out of our research, Among other things, first and foremost, we saw that we have to get a digitized database on the street food vendors, water vendors, public toilet operators, and those practicing urban agriculture in the metropolis. Already the street food vendors, some exercise is being carried out, but this has given us the opportunity to now get a protocol that environmental health officers will use as a checklist when they visit them to make sure that they are really operating within the regulations for street food vendors and ensure a hygienic meal for the populace. Infrastructure specifically, we are referring to provision of mechanized bowl with overhead tank, because when we do that, they will get clean water to water their plants. Hence, they will not be using the streams, which unknowingly to them they are drains, because they are flowing from people's bathhouses and the rest that they are using. And also, we want to organize them and provide them with the necessary training that they need before providing the infrastructure, so that infrastructure can be maximized when it comes to its use.
Is it KMA who will be spearheading this?
Yeah, KMA will be spearheading this.
What the funds from?
Part of the sanitation challenge for Ghana prize will be applied to the provision of this infrastructure. Although we will not be able to cover all, but at least in collaboration with Ministry of Agric, the Metro Director or the Metro Office will try to access some funds for planting for food and jobs, because we know that they have been giving them fertilizers, they have been giving them other produce. So KMA partly co-financing such infrastructure.
So those are some of the plans that is being put in place by the KMA, and you heard the voice of Joshua Ninoy Tete Note, Senior Department Planning Officer, KMA. Now, Dr. Doe, tell me this. I know that upon your work, you might have put across some recommendations. Does the response he's giving as to what they intend to do, fall into some of the recommendations you put across in your findings?
Exactly, David. As I mentioned, one of the aims of the research, was to collaborate with policymakers and implementers at the various metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies to use this tool and mainstream it in their activities. And that is how come we partnered KMA in Kumasi and then also AMA in Accra. So we engaged them, we discussed the results, and the things that he is talking about are some of the short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans that we have put together to address the situation. In fact, when we saw the issue I mentioned in Dakojom, when we saw that, we drew their attention, and immediately they went there to stop the owner of this public latrine who was doing that. I'm surprised that Erastus is saying they have received information that is still ongoing.
03-220-83596. I don't know what you've heard this morning. I don't know how you feel about it, especially when you have to drink water, when you have to step out and buy something from the street and eat. If you love vegetables and all that you've heard, let's hear from you. Do you have hope that indeed something positive and good can be done about it? Let's hear you. 03-220-83596. Now, if you live in an area where you think that somebody has put the effluents in the open, let's know about it and let's come over and try and fix the problem. Kofi Bajuniba is on the line. Good morning, Kofi.
Good morning, Bruni. How are you?
I'm blessed, Kofi.
Bruni, where are the environmental officers? Why didn't they come to the studio to answer questions? They are paid to ensure that the environment is serene. And look at what KMA is doing. You are now putting things in place. What were you doing all this while? What were you doing? It is your responsibility. And this attitude of attitude of Ghanaians, that is what is killing us. You have been employed as an environmental officer to ensure that sanity is prevailed and attitude. Look at our drains. Who is supposed to cover it? Is it not KMA? And how I mean, David, we have no hope. We will die. Because you go and buy vegetables and all those things and you don't know where it came from. And you will go and eat and you have typhoid. You will die. Because the people who have been put in place are not doing their work as expected of them. They just
I hear you, Kofi.
for nothing.
And I share in your concern as well. Thank you very much, Kofi, for the call. Ishak, good morning.
My brother, good morning. Thanks to Erastus and all the researchers over there. That's the essence of education. But Ghanaians, we are not interested in education. Or we are interested in unnecessary politics that will put money in our pockets. My brother, but he talked about all our food being contaminated.
And as well as our water.
Whether cooking, heating the food and all that will be able to control this particular problem. Because it looks like he has given us all the problems, but we haven't gotten anything that we will do to the food to make it at least safe for us.
I hear you.
And I know heating might be something that can kill some of these bacteria. I want the researcher to talk about that so that at least we can have some confidence that if we cook the food and all that, it will be saved.
He will give you a response. Thank you very much. Boache is calling us from Inshai. So good morning, Boache.
Good morning, sir.
Let's hear you, sir.
You made me laugh this morning. Greetings to my colleague Twana at KNUSC. Okay. I was laughing because you said I think I heard something like somebody received an award at KMA or something, or AMA.
KMA.
Then you asked a very brilliant question that they shouldn't have maybe given out. Listen, my brother. See. Our the leaders who are supposed to do these clean things, they know where to get the land cruisers, but they don't have the idea to recollect all these things to put things into place. They know where to get their land cruisers. The first thing they will do is to buy their land cruisers. The rest, look at this minister for blah, 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 blah. They know where to get a land cruiser, but the minister of agriculture don't know the machine that can farm for tomatoes. Where can do it like what we do in Amsterdam, those things. Look at these people. It's somebody's responsibility, Mr. David. The man have to punch the way you have to do supposed to. But you were using an English word for the feast. Tell them, say, Omudi Omojanai, and I say, Omudi Oma toilet, and I say, where the Omotia say, now you won't mistake a womb. Thank you very much, Mr. David.
Thank you very much, sir, for the call as well. Let's speak to Emil. He's calling us from Ahinsan. Good morning, Emil.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Let's hear you, sir.
I want to refer you back to what happened when we were growing up. We used to have these town councils who were very effective, working hard to ensure sanitation was up. But I don't know what happened to them. You see, in Ghana, we have very good laws, but what we have are weak institutions. And so if we can enforce our laws, ensure that these institutions that are supposed to enforce the laws are up and doing, then some of these things, we may not have to be talking about them. So let's just empower these town councils. I remember when we were growing up, when we hear town councils are coming, we ran helter-skelter, put things in order to ensure that we are not sanctioned. It is because these people no longer work that we are facing these challenges. So let's empower them, and everything will be okay.
Thank you very much, Emil there. Victus Mensah is calling us from Akwetia Line. Good morning, Victus.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, let's hear you, sir.
Yep. Thank you for this very powerful topic this morning. I have a house closer to me at Akwetia Line, and these people always open their drain, and then it worries us a lot. And I fought with them. I reported them to the sanitation officers, but still, even their sockaway is leaking into our house. We complained several times. They refuse. They don't do anything. But till now, number two, the water that the people are selling, is it not too congested, especially being disposed to the weather? I talked with them several times, but nobody. They will tell you, oh, we have talked with the authority already. So if we close, I can call you so that you come and see. A very big story building, open their drain, always worrying us in our house. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much as well. It's a minute to 8, and time is not really on our side. Let me see if we can reach and bring to you some of your voice notes. We're working on that and bring that to you. But somebody was asking a question, about cooking and whether it can kill, the bacteria in there.
Yes, David, that is true. The bacteria is known to die when they're exposed to a certain heat temperature. So when you cook your food well, then it will die. But then if you look at the pathways that we have looked at, open drain, how will you cook the water in open drain?
And how will you cook your salad?
Exactly, and all that. You see, and the open drain, you see, the dangerous part is that our kids play in there, they gather together, the ball falls in, they go in there, pick, they buy biscuit, they eat it raw. And research has even shown that that is a very, it impacts on the growth of the children.
Yeah.
So you see a child who is 10 years,
but looks like a
6-year-old child, stunts growth and so on and so forth. So these are more serious issues than we think they are. So, cooking, yes, but if you look at the pathways that we have looked at, 7-8 of them, there is no way you can cook flood water, for instance.
And even after cooking, the way we handle them, because even people who sell out there, Rastus, you go out there all the time, they're supposed to have some health certificates. Many of them don't have it. And yet they're out there, they're selling.
They're selling food.
And we're buying from them.
Using their hands to turn the fufu in public.
And they take the money from your hand, they change the money for you, they use the same hand to, give you...
David, they can use, I use vinegar all the time on the salad.
But like he said, the right quantity. So if you get the quantity wrong, the amount's wrong, you haven't done anything.
It's better than nothing.
I agree with you on that one. Christoph, good morning.
Good morning, David Akwesa. I hope you are fine.
I am blessed, my brother. Let's hear you.
Yes, good show. I'll commend you people and to urge you again that go to the department of the university and then let's take some of these reports and come and educate populace about it. It will really do us good. And you remember some time ago a doctor came to a studio and said anytime somebody probably has diarrhea or something, it means that another person's fecal matter has entered you, and it's true. And so the way we recycle these things, environment and all that, I believe that is also important. So KMA, as somebody said, they should be up and doing. We are paying taxes and all that, but yet we are at risk. I was saying yes, I did. So how can we grow with this whole thing? Okay, so I believe that we should all be responsible. That's why this sanitation drive was doing well. It was really weakening people, but I don't know whether you stop or something, because I saw a lot of opposition coming and all that. You remember when US went to Kute, this hostel thing, the man came to tell us shit and all that. I believe that let's all put hands on deck and make sure that these things can kick out.
I hear you, Christoph. Thank you very much for your call. And let's bring to you some of the voice notes.
Hello, David. Yeah, there's a fecal matter flowing through the drain near the China Mall. Yeah, the Chinese mall around the Tunsu area there. And it's very, very serious. When you are going to the mall, you can actually smell that stench over there. It's not easy at all. So they should try to do something about that stench around that Chinese mall. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you very much for bringing it to our attention and notice. Erastus, so you said someone has reported this one to you around
yes,
China Mall?
They reported it to us. They even sent us videos of the China Mall authorities leaking their effluent into the drains. I have informed the Asqua Municipal Chief Executive, Honorable Akwaniasa. He promised me he sent environmental officers there to check on it. So I will check on him again to find out what they've done and even personally pay a visit to the place. But it's outside KMA.
Okay.
It falls under.
Yes. But Erastus, listening and knowing what is happening out there, do you have hope that things will get better?
I keep hope alive. I keep hope alive. But I still think that we need stronger institutions. And you see, Doc has done a fantastic job with this research. It should ginger us. It should put some urgency in us to fix the problem. The environmental officers on the ground, some of them are doing fantastic. Some of them, they've grown too old. They've grown too conversant with the people, and they don't feel like doing the job.
They're compromised.
How can we phase all of them out, bring in fresh people with fresh mind, robust people to do the job, so we can keep some of these things on the low?
Doc, in 30 seconds, what would you leave us with?
Yes, I would say that this is a collaborative research between Center for Global Safe Wash in Emory University, Atlanta, Training Network and Research for Development Group Trend in Accra and also in Kumasi. Trend is a household name in the water, sanitation and hygiene sector. Between KNUST, between also Water Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research lab in Accra, the Civil Engineering lab in Accra. I'm at the Department of Planning, KNUST, with funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So this is there. We encourage all other municipalities to engage us to help them expose the tool to them so that together we can fight this problem. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much as well. And this has been Love in the Morning,
But
brought
David,
to us
before
by...
we go, can I get a second?
Yes, please, you can.
Mr. Isaac Apia is the accountant for Tafo Government Hospital. Isaac Apia, today is your birthday. Happy birthday. I'll see you around.
Okay. Now, happy birthday to Salah Miles Asensu Mensah of Mount Olivet School. I don't know quite how. So this one, Salah, I'm told what you are in Nursery 2Y. Salah is 3 years old today. As from your daddy, Asensu Mensah, right here at Multimedia, Kumasi, and your mommy, Ajua Champoma Kusi of Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. They both say they love you very much. Well, indeed, your uncle, Nanaya Jima, also loves you very much, and so do I. Well, Dr. Benjamin Doe, Department of Planning, KNUST, project consultant for the Sunny Path project, we say thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you to David.
And I like your jacket.
Thank you, David.
Erasmus, I like your African wear, and thank you very much for your time with us as well.
Thank you.
This has been Love in the Morning. My name is David Akwete. Many thanks to you, Nanaya Jima.
Trust no ni flying reindeer no more. Now forget the Santa Claus ni elves. You old school. What is here? I feel baby a boss super bro ni Samsung shop. What is Samsung?
Nama we ni we because enchese wo your mind bapa. Nyamye nkoni no me ekoso obo ase ne airtime. Train kwan efua ma wona mu kura enwumre na wusuro.
Ya dokura na mo hwe ball aguso.
Ya sa do ewiere na ya sa hwe ball aguso. Na sa no ma we mu ina no mi bisa efa mi hu na won so emfa wo ho ana. Eno ma ekoso obo ase ne enkoyie. Eno ma ekoso obo ase no enkoyie. Enemre yempenifo yesro. Yesre enya se time wo be so se ento abama mu ana mo kan se bu ase e wo se ye kwan e na wo se ye do kwan ho e na wo se ye tree light ye nya nto aba no mo nya bibi mi ehu se mo dwe ye ho sa ha no mo afu se ya do e na no mai na ekoso pepepe wa ha obi kutu se o jonso kra na se o jane na ya o hu se ne hu nipa bi ba pe nyame enko ni ferie obedwane. But a muda honu who say ya, Obiasu Baba any dear no wako. Efa mi wo, na won so efa one and only question I may be sir.